And I know she'll be the death of me, at least.
Tercer bloque en Committed por el Póker. Seguimos acá, Committed Póker. Todas esas redes sociales que ves ahí abajo. Canal 526 de Flow. Y sigue la charla, querido amigo, querido ex amigo Cusco Castellanos. Sigue la charla con Jonathan Little. Momento que sé que te gusta a vos porque habla de los solvers y todo lo que refiere al póker online.
Tal cual, habla la relación que tiene él con los soft de apoyo, ¿sí? Así que también va a estar bueno. Y también habla sobre la relación entre los libros versus videos. Y deja aparte también un par de tips.
Sí, mira, ¿sabes qué? Uno empezó jugando al póker consumiendo más que nada libros, ¿no? Libro. Pero hoy por hoy, y ya vuelve la mente un pro, vamos a decirlo, está buenísimo esto de poder mirar videos y nutrirte también. Mientras uno estudie, está bárbaro, ¿no?
Tal cual. Mientras que sea de cualquier forma, todo conocimiento adquirido es bueno.
Bueno, escuchamos a Jonathan Little. Dale.
Vamos.
One of the radical changes in poker was the development of those kind of solvers and poker studies software, you know? And how's your relationship with that? Pio, Snowy, Equilab, and resources? And how, I don't know, do you work a lot with that? Or are you like...
I outsource a lot of that. So like a lot of that stuff takes time and like you have to have your computer over here grinding out on this. And I just have a laptop, like it's a nice laptop, but it's a laptop. So I have one member of my team. I have a few employees at pokercoaching.com. who is very good at using the solver. He learned from Michael Acevedo. So, I mean, okay. I paid for him to get lessons from Michael to learn how to do the solvers well. So that's his job. Like I'll be playing a tournament and I'll text him a hand.
Very nice job, right?
Yeah, it's good. So I'll be playing a lot. Like back when I was playing the live tournaments, I would play a hand. I would text him the hand. He'd send me back the solution in like 5 minutes. And so like, I'm not sitting there personally doing it, but I have people on my team who are doing it. I actually just made, a big upgrade to my poker coaching app that has loads of pre-flop solutions in it for various stack sizes for the members. And it has Munker solver ranges for like 12 big blind, 15 big blind, 20 big blind, 25 big blind, all the way up to 100 big blind situations. And I mean, that's certainly not going to make the game any softer, but it's going to help my students crush the game. And
well, I do that with Pio, but with a lot of stack sizes and different situations. But I never tried Munker solver, so that's why I'm asking.
It takes a lot longer to run the simulations, and it basically just gives you. It seems like it gives you slightly different ranges that play better post flop. Like it seems like it's playing more King X suited, more suited connected stuff in general, fewer offsuit hands, but just like a little bit. I mean, if you use Pio ranges or Munker ranges, I'm sure it's not going to cost you a ton in the long run. Like if I play King 7 suited and you play Ace 10 offsuit or something, it's not going to make a big difference.
I think it really makes a difference. Like when you start studying with those ranges and how do you press in different and the board impacts and everything, and you can see like the metrics, you know. So then you have to put like your human efforts to like play explorative, you know. But that's what I think. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I completely agree. And like a lot of what I do at pokercoaching.com is take the GTO solution and figure out why it is doing what it does. And it turns out there's really like four main things. There's the idea of range advantage, like whose range connects better with the flop.
Of course.
There's nut advantage, who has more nut hands. Like say it comes Jack 6-6 and you raise under the gun and the big blind calls, they have some sixes and you have like no sixes raising under the gun or almost none, right? So there you'll have a big range advantage, but like no nut advantage. So you want to be betting in that spot frequently, but you want to be using a tiny size. Whereas if say it comes ace, king, queen, now you have all the sets and straights and whatnot.
Of course.
And there you want to be betting frequently, but big because you have the range and the nut advantage. There's also this idea of range connectivity, like how well does the range connect with the board, and are those hands thought to be good or bad? Like, for example, on Jack 6-6, it's kind of hard to connect with that board. because you usually just have nothing, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So on those boards, you usually want to be betting using the small sized, whereas on like ace, king, queen, if your opponent has a king or an ace, they're just not going to fold. So you might as well bet big and get them to pay off more, right? And then position is very important. You generally check more when you're out of position. So those things lead to it not being all that hard to figure out roughly what the right GTO betting frequency is. You can usually estimate it plus or minus like 10%.
Yeah, I know.
And then you have to figure out what to bet with. And as you're betting more or less often, you're going to be betting more polarized usually, with just your best made hands and your draws. And so anyway, I have all this stuff explained in
that's very good that you have
a lot of my content. I have a book, Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em, that discusses that quite a bit.
That's the previous one?
That was my previous book. Yeah,
nice.
It's the guy. I mean, to be fair, it's titled incorrectly to some extent, because it turns out if you put the term small stakes in a book title, it sells way better than if you don't.
and it's really, really good to know in that situations who has the linear range, the polarized and the condensed ranges. But if you indefinite, if you have the range advantage, you can profitable bet anytime, you know.
For sure. And also, but then you have to know how to adjust to whatever your opponents do wrong. And so a lot of that small stakes book is, how do you play against a calling station, right? Well, against a calling station, you play very differently than against someone who's going to play appropriately, right? So you stop bluffing so much and you start value betting way thinner with a wider range. And that's really what most people want to make sure they're studying is they need to know how to play the game theory optimal strategy, but then they also need to know how to adjust it to take advantage of the few common ways people play poorly. Like people are usually either calling stations where they never fold, or they are maniacs where they just bluff a lot, or they're a little bit too weak where they just never play aggressively. And you need to study how to play against those particular types of players, because that's who you will encounter in most small or medium stakes games.
Yeah, very good. So people, you should buy both books of Jonathan, right? The
there you
previous
go.
one and this. But I'm really happy that this one is going to be available in Spanish, because it will be like a really big contribution to the community, to the Latin community and the Spanish community, right?
Great. I'm glad to hear it. I love the Spanish community. Everything about it is great. And again, check out Michael Acevedo's stream, because he's one of the biggest streamers in Spanish. He only streams in Spanish.
Wow.
And that's cool. You know, it's cool that he's doing that for the community.
Yeah, nice. Before, people mostly studied with books. Right now, there are a lot of videos, internet, and people tend to study through that, right? What do you think is better? How is it comparable?
I think, so look, I realize people like to learn in all sorts of ways, right? Some people like books, some people like podcasts, some people like videos, some people like solvers, some people like getting hand history reviews from coaches. Everybody likes different things, right? So you need to find a way to study that works best for you and what you like. I personally like videos from other good people, and I like, basically like hearing their thought processes on spots that maybe give me a tough time. And so, interestingly enough, this book, Excelling at Tough Limit Hold'em Games, is powered by Pokar here. Pokar is a backing company, and all of these people here are coaches at Pokar, and they all have content on this site where they are teaching the backees how to get good at poker. And I work with them as the advisor for like help them with live poker, because they also back people in live poker. But I think that for me, videos work best, but I realize some people like reading books. Some people like listening. Like whenever I make these books, I'll make it available on audiobook and ebook and physical book, because I don't know how you want to consume the book. I just want to make sure you can get it in a way that is most helpful for you. So find what works for you and then do that. Make sure it's actually helpful though. What a lot of people do wrong is they'll work all day, then they'll come home and they'll have a beer and they'll watch a Twitch stream and pass out on the couch. Like you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're actively studying and learning in the process. Yeah. And what I made at my training site, pokercoaching.com, is we have a lot of quizzes where it basically asks you how to play a hand from, pre-flop all the way to the river. And at every decision point, you get a score from 1 to 10. And also you get the feedback from the coach that made the quiz. So you'll hear what I think about a particular spot at every decision point. And it's kind of like private coaching. It's like having a coach stand with you and tell you what they think you should be doing at every betting round. And that's highly beneficial for most people too, I think.
Oh, that's very good. And also, are you giving like personal coaching or not right now?
I do, but not a ton. I try. So I like private coaching. And I think that's a very, very good thing for people to be doing. But at this point, I think my time is mostly better spent trying to help a lot of people at the same time. So like writing a book, right? When I write this book, some number of thousands of people are going to read this book, right? Whereas if you do private coaching, only one person is going to benefit from that. But I do like some like group coaching sessions. Every 2 weeks, I have a group where we get online. I present on a topic that they ask me to present about, and then I'll answer their questions for like 15 minutes each. So that's like private coaching, but like a shared experience where you get to benefit from everyone. So I would definitely recommend doing things like that if you have a group that wants to do that, because then you all work together, you learn from each other, and you all improve together.
Wow, that's very nice. So how do you perceive like the Latin American player and from your poker play look, you know?
They're aggressive. They like to bluff a lot. So when you're playing against someone from Latin America who's at least, you know, good enough to make it to medium and high stakes games, you just don't want to fold. Just check a lot and call a lot, and you'll win a lot of money.
Well, but we are studying a lot in our defense.
Well, you're studying a lot, and you know that Americans are weak and tight and fold too often. So I know that you know Americans are too weak and too tight. So I act like tight American and check a lot. And then I know you're going to bluff a lot, so then I call a lot. So your play against me is to just never bluff. If you never bluff me, you'll win all the money.
So it's like a good metagame.
Yeah, it's a good metagame, exactly. Currently, though, I just check a lot and then call a lot against Latin American players, and it works out great.
So how do you think it's going to change, like this metagame and everything, the poker in general after this pandemic? You think people go to online poker or what?
I cannot predict the future. I mean, I initially didn't think COVID would be much of a big deal, but it's turned out to just be completely world changing, right? And, you know, fortunately, online poker is thriving to some extent. I mean, like Party Poker and GG and all the big poker sites they've been running big series like every week, it seems, since we've been on lockdown. So I think a lot of good online poker players are going to come out of this. And some of them are going to transition to online poker. And to live poker. And I also think some people who are like live and online players, they may decide, you know what, I don't want to go travel anymore. I just want to sit at home and play online all day. So some people may just stop playing live poker. But I think also there's going to be sort of a new group of players who you didn't know about because they've had the last 6 months to get really good at online poker with nothing else to do.
Wow. That's very good. Well, this interview is for an Argentinian program, you know, that is called Committed por el Poker, that is committed to poker, you know, and they are like creating a lot of content to the poker community. So if you want to say something to them or say hi to the community, it would be very great for them. I'm just a coach. I just do like the strategy column and that's it.
Hello to the Committed to Poker community. I'm happy that you all are doing great work. Thanks to Kristen for helping out with all of this and making all this happen. And
you have to say it in Spanish.
Doing good work.
Committed por el poker.
Committed por poker.
Very good.
Okay. Committed por poker. Hola. ¿Cómo está? That's all I know.
That's very good.
But yeah, I mean, look, it is great to have a community of people who all want to succeed. Basically, every poker player who made it to the top has a group of people they talk to about poker. And it may be a small group or a big group, but I know when I first started, there was just a group of 6 or 8 people who I studied with a lot. I mean, like Dave Benefield, a guy named Raptor online back in the day, and Tom Dwan and Phil Galfond. And it's like people like this used to play the sit and goes with me. And we all talked about poker and studied poker and hung out and partied and were idiots together. And
well, you're naming all my poker heroes from all times.
They're all good at poker.
Yeah, they're very good.
We all work together to better each other, right? And you need to find groups like that. And that sounds like exactly what you are developing, is people who want to work hard to get good at poker. And fortunately, people like you, Christian, are out there making content for them so that they can get good. You're making it easy for them to get as good as they possibly can. So good job with that.
And good job for you too. Well, Jonathan, thank you very, very much. It's like a really big honor for me to do this interview with you. So I don't know, just thank you from
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for all the great work that you do too.
Okay, I hope we see you soon.
I hope to see you soon too. Let's go to Argentina and play some poker. I'm ready.